What is up, heathens? How are y'all doing? I think, oh crap, hold on. I've got something playing in my ear. Maybe. Yep, I do. There we go. Got it taken care of right there. Okay. This is poor. I'm such an amateur at this shit. Anyways, what's up, heathens? How y'all doing? You're watching SkepTalk on the line, and it's April 10th, 2023, and the lines are open. If you'd like to call in with a question about God's existence, or a question or an argument about God's existence, we'd really love to hear from you. The number is 720-619-2288. And if you're calling from the US, but if you would like to call in from the web, you can find that link down in the description. I am John Gleason, the Godless engineer, and joining me today is Kevin, known as the Jesus Unfollower. Hi there, Kevin. How you doing?
What's going on, man? Doing great. Glad to be here.
Yeah. I mean, it's so awesome to finally get to meet you, because I've seen your stuff on TikTok, and then also on Twitter and everything, and I always enjoy your TikToks. I'm wondering, to kind of lead us in tonight, can you kind of tell us a little bit about like your background, like where you're coming from and everything like that?
Sure. Yeah, so I was born in Michigan, raised in the Bible Belt, and so we grew up going to Baptist churches, and we would go sporadically, and eventually we got to where we were going to this Pentecostal church in high school, and that's where I really got all into church and all about Jesus, became a certified Jesus freak, and got really into it. And then I was a Christian.
Did you have the book too?
Yes. Had the book.
I did too.
I carried my Bible with me to high school senior year, like a dork, and to work with me and everything. And then I deconverted at age 26 and was kind of indifferent for a long time about Christianity. I was like, I don't believe this anymore, but if people do, cool. And that was 2009. And then like a decade later, I started making content about it. And that was mainly because I got into a relationship, and she was Seventh-day Adventist, and we ended up breaking up because of our religious differences. And it sort of sparked a kind of a fuel or a fire in me to talk about it. And so then I started creating content on Instagram and YouTube, and then TikTok and all that. So okay. Here I am.
I'm kind of curious, what's the difference? What are the specific differences in Seventh-day Adventists and what we generally think of as Christianity?
The main thing is they go to church on Saturdays, and I like to watch college football on Saturdays, so I wasn't about that life. I was like, peace out. No, I mean that's one of the main things. I don't think they really believe in hell. They believe that you just perish after, if you don't believe, the non-believers just perish or whatever. So they don't believe in hell. I don't know a lot of the other specifics really, but I was like, this is weird. It was weird going to church as an atheist. I'd been an atheist for a decade, and then I'm like, okay, I'll go to church with her. I don't believe, but whatever. And then it was just really strange. I was like, everybody in here is worshiping this God that I don't believe exists, and just everybody just worshiping, throwing their hands up, playing the music, and I'm like, I think I might be the only person in here who doesn't believe this. It was really strange. But yeah, besides that, I don't really know a whole lot about Seventh-day Adventists, really. A lot of them are vegetarians, I know that, and a lot of them work in the medical field. But as far as their beliefs and how much different they are, I don't really know.
Interesting. Now, I'm kind of curious because mind you, we still don't have any calls, so all of the lines are open. If you disagree with us about God's existence, if I know me, I've been making a lot of waves with like some mythicists and resurrection content here lately. A lot of people love to talk a bunch of smack online. I don't know if you get this, Kevin, but they love to talk smack online, but then when it's like, oh, put up or shut up, they always end up shutting up. So if y'all want to, you can call at 720-619-2288. Just go on ahead, call in, or in the link there in the description, there's a link where you can call in from the web if you're outside of the United States. So do consider doing that, because we would love to hear from somebody tonight about why God exists. That's one thing. And on that topic right there, I'm wondering, Kevin, and I ask this generally of people that I interview and stuff, which this isn't my channel, really, but what was, if you could pick out, like, was there one thing that kind of deconverted you, or was it more of like several things that piled on to one another? Like, what was that experience for you?
It was one main thing. I was still a believer. There was a guy at work who used to stand outside and stand outside the building and smoke on his breaks. And I would like walk. You can't tell it now, but I used to like try to walk around the building and try to like exercise a little bit. And so I would walk past this guy, and he stopped me one time, and we had a conversation about religion. And he asked me if I believe, and I said yes. And he asked me why, and I told him why. And he said that he used to be a preacher, but he didn't believe anymore. And so he and I got into a conversation. He said that he wanted to go to college, but his church was like, you shouldn't go to college. Those liberal professors, and they're going to try to educate you and all this stuff. But he said he got into like a religions 101 class and was learning about all these different religions and stuff. And he thought, if I were born in a different country or born to parents who believed differently, I would believe differently too. And it was just like that for me. I was like, oh my God, I know that that's not always the way it works. That's not always the truth. But I was like, if my parents believed differently, I would believe in a different God as well. Or if I were born in a different part of the world, I would believe totally differently than I do. And it just sort of clicked for me right then. And then it all sort of unraveled, I just so happened to be born in the right place, believing in the right God, to the parents who also happened to believe in the right God. I was so lucky. It just didn't make sense anymore.
Right. And so is that like right at that moment, you're like, oh, well, I guess I don't believe in God anymore. Is that how that worked?
It was pretty quick. It really was. Because I was like, it didn't add up. Like that was just like a big crack in the foundation. And, the whole getting over the fear of hell thing sometimes takes a little bit longer, because you're thinking, okay, I think I know this. I think this is what I believe, but what if it's like Satan who is whispering in my ear and telling me things? And, you start thinking, do I really believe this? Or is God sitting here watching me say I don't believe in him? And so there's that embedded fear that you have of growing up being told that you're going to burn if you don't believe. Going to a church where they put on a production of Heaven's Gates and Hell's Flames, where you see all your friends in church up on stage, doing skits about drinking and driving and getting in a crash. And then, oh, sorry. Then they have like demons coming off stage and pulling them, like, depart from me and all this stuff. And so there's that fear that's just embedded in you. And you're like, crap, what if I'm wrong? And then it's hell for me. So it takes a little longer to deconstruct hell, I think. But yeah, I stopped believing pretty quick.
Yeah. I had a similar experience. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say I had somewhat of a similar experience, because I was at a point where I was really questioning. I was starting to question things. I didn't know exactly like what I believed, and so I had a friend challenge me. It was actually I was playing on a church softball team, and I had a friend challenge me and say, like, if you don't believe in the Bible from front to back, as the literal word of God, believe everything in it, then you're not really a Christian. And of course, after educating myself, I know now that that's like a not straw man, but a no true Scotsman kind of fallacy. But at the time, sure, I was like, well, shit, I guess I don't, I guess I'm not a Christian. And then I started asking myself, well, what do I think about God? And so the switch for like, not believing in Yahweh and not believing in Christianity or anything like that was really quick. But like deconstructing like my ideas about God, it took a little bit longer, but I really can't say at that point that, I really believed in any kind of God. So, I mean, it kind of was sort of a snappy kind of moment for me, because I just knew it's like, there's no way, like there's so many like weird things in the Old Testament. Like how can any of that be like reality? So I guess I'm not Christian. I think that if I'd been more educated, like on the different apologetics that are employed, I think that it probably would have taken me a little bit longer, to deconstruct like my thoughts about God. But in that moment, I was just like, no, I can't do that. Like, that's ridiculous. They got talking donkeys and snakes in there. Like, what do you?
It's all or nothing, right? So they're saying like, you either believe it all or you believe none of it. I get that too. And it's weird because after I deconverted, I would sit there and be like, and I think a lot of people do this, would pray to God. It's weird because you don't really believe, but you still pray. Like, if you're real, let me know, give me something. I want to believe, but I just don't. I can't make myself. Mm-hmm. I think that's one thing I've come to understand now is you can't really make yourself believe things. I don't think you either believe them or you don't. And I didn't, but I wanted to, but it was just, no answer. So I was like, well, I guess I don't believe then.
Now you said that you kind of grew up somewhat in a Pentecostal church, and I that's actually one particular denomination I've not been a part of, which, I'm here in North Alabama. So like we've got pretty much non-denominational, we've got Catholic, and we've got Baptist, like different flavors of Baptist, Southern Baptist, regular Baptist, and then we've got the other ones, like we've got some Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't think we got any Mormons, although I do know that there were Mormons in our area, but I don't know where the Mormon temple is up here. I think it's probably in one of the bigger cities like Huntsville or something. But so my background's actually in pretty much either non-denominational or Southern Baptist. And I know that Pentecostals come in different flavors too. You got some that are the crazy snake handlers that there's like only one church here in North Alabama that's like crazy enough to handle snakes now. But for the Pentecostals, I mean, are they pretty fundamentalist, like in their doctrine and their beliefs?
Yeah. And the one I went to was Church of God. So it was like very charismatic. The first time I ever walked into that church, I was 15 or 16, and I was used to going to Baptist churches. It was like the most you would see happen there would be like somebody slip up their hand, every now and then. And but I walked in here, and people are like dancing around, waving flags. The keyboard player literally stopped playing and ran laps around the church. And I'm like, what is this? But then after you go there for a couple of years, you get used to it. And that's normal to you after that. And so that was the kind of church it was. People speaking in tongues. Like the pastor would be right in the middle of a sermon, and then some dude in the, sixth row just starts shouting in tongues. And the pastor's like, hold on, everybody. And he's the one who interprets it. So he's like, here's what God's really saying. I know you guys hear this crazy stuff, but here's what God's really saying through this gentleman. And then he would interpret it and tell everybody. And it became normal to me after a while, which is wild looking back on it.
I feel like even when I was Christian, which I'm not saying that I was a good Christian, but I think that I would probably laugh at that point. You know, like hearing, like whenever I've heard the talking in tongues and everything like that on videos and whatnot, I can't help but to laugh about it, because especially with this idea that the preacher or whoever can like interpret the Babel, you know, I mean, it just, I don't know, it's always kind of seemed weird to me. Now, did you ever learn to like do the speak in tongues thing, or like did you ever do that?
I spoke in tongues one time, and it was by myself in my bedroom. And I don't tell a whole lot of people that, but I think it was just, looking back on it, it's like this, and it was like very brief, but it was, I think, this peer pressure, or like this pressure of, this is what everybody does. Apparently these people have the Holy Spirit. You know, do I really have it? And so just in my room praying, and just, you know, nonsense comes out of your mouth. And I'm like, I guess that was tongues then.
Yeah.
But it was just that one time. But, you know, I've been slain in the spirit, the whole thing where they lay hands on you, you fall on the floor, and it's like you're trying to convince yourself, this psychological? Does this really happen? And you're laying there, and they had the lady coming around covering people up with a blanket, so there's no indecent exposure in the altar, you know. And but man, yeah, they were all about the tongues. And one night after church, everybody started laughing in the spirit, and that was wild. I wasn't doing that at that point. I was like, this seems strange, you know. Everybody just starts laughing uncontrollably, and I'm like, I don't know about this. Did that to me threw up a red flag. I mean, several things should have in hindsight, but that I was like, I don't know about this, man. You know, laughing in the spirit and stuff.
So just to remind everybody, we do still have like all the lines open. We do have a caller waiting right now that we're about to get to, but just wanting to remind people that, you know, we don't believe in God. If you do, we'd love to hear why. Or if you want to argue with me about mythicism, because I know people freaking hate that. They hate mythicists for whatever reason. So if you think Jesus existed in history, I will definitely talk to you about that till the cows come home. I guess that showing my southern locality there. But we do have Ian from Georgia that we're about to talk to. So he has a question. What's up there, Ian? How you doing?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good, man. So
good
I
to hear
it. Huh?
I was just saying, good to hear it.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I got bad ears. But
oh no, there's a delay.
Oh, okay. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the conversion I just had the other night ago, because I was like, so I'm schizophrenic, and I believe in things spiritually, or at least I used to. And so I thought like spirits could talk to me, and I thought God could talk to me. And so God had made a promise, and I just found out the other day ago that promise was broken 100%. And I'm not going to speak about what the promise is, but basically when that happened, it just like, it kind of just shattered me. I was like, you know, the more I think about it, all this that I've been contemplating over years about trying to find God, about trying to figure out who he is, what he is, and how he works, all that was just, it was just a delusion that I was creating in my head, that I kept creating over and over every day, trying to find God, when in reality there's nothing to find other than a bunch of lies. And, you know, it really upset me, because I put a lot of effort into trying to understand all this. And I just feel so, I guess, angry kind of, you know, but not hateful about it all. It just kind of gets me, you know? And so,
yeah, definitely. I do have to ask first off though, are you getting like, are you seeing a doctor for your schizophrenia?
yes, I am.
Okay, good. That's
So
good. I just wanted to make sure about that first, because I know sometimes coming from that kind of background, some people could forego, like, seeing a doctor or something like that. So I'm glad that you are seeing a professional to get help for that. So that's great. So that now I know you don't want to talk about the promise that was broken, but I think that the whole idea of having these prayers or asking God to do something, and then God or what you perceive as God not fulfilling on that, or not holding up his end of the deal, is kind of one of those things that a lot of people experience. So I mean, you're not alone in that feeling.
yeah, it's just it's like, because I actually went to mental health facilities, to like get help, because I had like what do you call it? There's a word for it where you go through like a trance, like like a psychotic trance or something like
Hallucinations?
that. Anyways, I was, huh?
Hallucinations?
Yeah, I was going through hallucinations, and I was going through all kinds of stuff. So they had to get me to the mental health facility, and then that happened a couple times, and I put so much faith into all that something godly happened or something like that. And then I started looking up a lot of different things, and I actually found y'all's show not long ago. I found the line, and then I found all the other atheists, or the atheist YouTubers and all that. And I definitely say y'all kind of opened my eye to a lot of different things.
Well, I mean, I'm glad that we've had a very positive effect, like, on your life. Now, would you say that you deconverted from like a religious belief, and now you're an atheist, or how would you put a label on it at all?
Honestly, I'm not even sure what I used to believe, because it was like a mixture of Christianity, but then it was like some other kind of thing off to the side. I don't know. I believed in a lot of crazy stuff, and then I mixed all these beliefs I had into one crazy I can't even say it. But yeah, just like all this bull crap that I try to believe in. And so, yeah, I deconverted, basically because, I firmly had believed that I had been promised. And when I saw that crushing down, I realized, if I can't even seem to get actual communication, who's to say anyone else across the world or in history ever was able to do that? And with that being said, I can't accept the Bible, and I can't accept anything of religion.
Yeah, I
Yeah, when you
mean,
start
I'm right there with you. Oh, go ahead, Kevin.
when you start looking at how many religions there are out there, and how many people think that they hear from different gods, so many different gods throughout history, so many gods now, they think that they're talking to them, and it's like those people think that everybody else is wrong or hearing the wrong gods, and vice versa. It's like, how do you determine that
Yeah, how
you're
can you
actually,
tell?
yeah, how do you know that you're talking to the right God, and it's not just something that you're telling yourself, not just your own voice in your head or what you want to happen or things like that?
Yeah, and that it's crazy, because even getting out of the spiritual religious belief of it, I still have that schizophrenia that kind of messes with me. So like, I'll close my eyes and I'll see like teeth and skulls and demons. But now at least I can look at that and be like, oh, okay, that's not real. That's just an hallucination, and that's just my mind trying to play tricks on me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Well, I mean, Ian, I'm so glad that you've thoughtfully considered, what you believe and all that kind of stuff. And have come away better. I feel like you've come away with a better, grasp on reality, considering that, you've realized this incongruity between, hearing voices and thinking that it's God. But in any case, yeah, I think that it's great. Do you have any specific questions, like other than just discussing your deconversion?
If I was going to ask a question, I guess it'd be kind of off topic. It'd be the argument of like will, but I do believe we still have will. But I don't think that will is connected to anything supernatural.
Right.
Free
Yeah, are
will,
you talking
that
about
is.
like free will? Free will? Yeah.
Yeah, free will.
So my own view, and I'll let I'll let Kevin go here in a second if he wants to say something. My own view of free will is that we kind of have this sort of faux free will, which is really just the ability like to choose. Like the best way that I've heard it described is that, a lot of times Christians or religious people in general, they like to present it as if you have the ability to make any decision, that you can make. Like any decision that's possible, you can freely
Right.
make that decision if you want to. But the problem that I have with that is that, like, there are decisions that, while are possible for me, it's not plausible that they would occur to me naturally. Like, you only have the
Exactly.
ability to choose. Yeah, you only have the ability to choose between the options that naturally present to you as a person, and that changes from person to person. So it never occurs to me, like, if I stub my toe, to like get enraged and kill the neighbor's dog or something. Like that's a
Right.
possible decision I could make, but that's not something that just naturally occurs to me. While maybe you have somebody else out there that does have those kinds of impulses, which is not good. But it's different for every person. So that's kind of how I view it. What do you think about free will there, Kevin?
I'm along the same lines as you. I think when we think about free will, it's like we want to feel like we're in control of our own everything. And if you tell people that, you don't think that we really have free will, and they feel like they don't have the freedom to, choose their own actions or whatever. But I'm kind of with you there. It's just
Yeah, I just think simply free will is just like, I think the definition is the problem. And because I think, honestly, I would define free will as just the freedom to choose the actions you wish to choose in life. That doesn't mean you're going to get to choose whatever action you want, but you still get to choose actions to actually do.
Yeah, I can see that, I guess. Yeah. Well, if you don't have any other kind of questions that we can kind of tackle, we don't have anybody else on the line, but we can go ahead and let you go for
All
other
right,
people to
man.
call in. Yeah, it's
All
great
right,
that
well,
you
you
called
take
in.
it easy, man.
So glad. Yeah, I'm so glad that you called in, and I can't wait to hear like how you're doing on down the line as you're investigating, your new, I guess, your new worldview, as it were. So definitely call in the future. We'd love to hear you call in again.
Yeah, man. Take care, man.
Thanks,
All
Ian.
right, see you later, Ian.
I think one thing that's important is we don't have to really label ourselves. I think people do get hung up on that. I think it's okay if you don't. If you want to call yourself agnostic or atheist or spiritual or nothing, if you don't want to label yourself at all, I think that's okay too. I think we get hung up on labels a lot. You don't have to draw a line in the sand and be like, this is my absolute, I'm wearing the name tag or whatever. I think we get kind of hung up on it.
Oh, definitely. And I mean, I guess I was just trying to get a handle on like where he considered himself, like if he still considered himself like at least spiritual but not religious kind of situation, or if he was just completely like leaving the religious beliefs behind. And but yeah, I'm so glad that people see. That's the one thing that I really want to do in general with anything that I do, and that's get people to thoughtfully consider what they believe and why they believe it. And I think that that's like one of the best things that you can do, because that's what I did. You know, I started reconsidering what I believed, and I genuinely came to a decision for myself instead of allowing other people to tell me what I should believe. And so I think that if anything, if that's the results of, you know, whatever we're doing here, I think that it's a success. But so just wanted to let everybody know that if you want to support the show here, if you like what we're doing here on the line, you can subscribe to the Patreon. It's patreon.com/call the line. There's different tiers which you can become a patron on. So you know, get on over there and help support what we're doing here. We do also have a number of shows that are coming up this week on the line. Tomorrow, Tuesday at 6 p.m. is Hostility with Forrest Valkai, and he's got Gabriel. I'm gonna butcher this last name. Yeah, Gabriel Hanans is who Forrest has on tomorrow, and then we got the Hang Up on Wednesday at 7 p.m. with Matt Dillahunty and Dave Warnock, and then Thursday we've got it's
Transatlantic Call-In Show.
Transatlantic Call-In Show. Thank you, Jimmy. I had a brain fart with Katy and Arden. So definitely, you know, be sure to subscribe to the channel, become a Patreon member, and watch all the great shows here this week. Let's see. We've got Frank calling in from to talk about some stuff. Just want to let everybody know that there are still lines open. If you want to call in, ask us about either mythicism, God, anything about our Christian backgrounds, what convinced us. Hey, you know, I will even answer questions about historicity and why mythicists suck ass. So just, you know, anything to your heart's content that you want to ask us about contained in the aspect of religion, just go on ahead, call us in. Call in to us. We'd love to hear from you. So, all right, we've got Frank on the line. What's up there, Frank? How you doing?
Hey, I just got a question about the Bible, if that's all right. The whole thing about us being born guilty, could you kind of tell me about that a little bit? You know,
okay.
Born, I don't know how to say it, but born guilty of something.
So, just right. So just so that I understand, you don't understand the concept of original sin, so you want us, the atheists, to explain what the Bible says about it. Is that right?
Yeah, just give me an idea of what it is, because I think it's part of grooming. The way you know, they groom people, especially little kids, as the easiest target. Yeah, if you could tell me a little bit about it, I'd appreciate it.
Okay. You know, honestly, Kevin, I don't know if you can do a better job. I was a shitty Christian, so I think that you probably are better at this.
Yeah. So Adam and Eve were created. Everything was supposed to be perfect. They screwed up, ate the apple that they weren't supposed to eat, and everybody, all of mankind throughout the rest of history suffers because of it, I guess. And God ended up flooding the world because of how wicked we were. You know, he let Noah and his family survive. Everybody else died. But yeah, I was thinking about it because, I mean, this was Easter weekend that we just had. And what you said, Frank, about how kids are taught that they're just wicked and evil and filthy from such a young age. And it's horrible because, you know, they'll watch things about, or be told stories about the crucifixion, about Jesus being tortured and crucified and dying because of their sin. And it's wild because it's, you know, something that supposedly happened thousands of years ago, the fall of mankind, or, you know, us being sinful now. And it's like, then Jesus came to cleanse everything and clear the slate, but you have to believe that he's the Son of God in order, to make it to heaven because of some sins that other people committed a long time ago, or, that we, I guess, are going to commit in our lifetime too. All those are also paid under the blood of Christ.
Well, it sounds psychotic, doesn't it? I mean, the way they'll put something on, say an innocent kid, just a baby, and then basically, I don't know. It seems like an excuse to mistreat children, is what it. Like this kid is guilty already. Might as well smack him. Might as well mistreat him. Almost like an
well, I don't know.
But
I don't have any experience with religious like parents like using the whole he's sinful so might as well smack him around kind of thing. Normally in my experience they cite the passage about and I don't know the book chapter and verse, but it's spare the rod, spoil the child. You've got parents that do that, have that kind of mentality, but ultimately, I mean, I think children, adult, whoever's believing in this, it's very obviously a toxic kind of idea that's it's baked into Judaism from the get-go, and it's very anti-knowledge based too, because if you think about in Genesis, the point at which God afflicts humankind with sin is when, of course, they disobeyed him and ate the fruit from the tree. And I've always had a big problem with that, because it's like, well, how are they supposed to know that it was wrong to disobey God? All they were told was, hey, don't do this. They don't have any kind of information about how it's wrong or bad to disobey God. And so it kind of seems necessary for the entire religion to be based on that, because it's like you've got this horrible affliction that, and the only way, this is what's crazy for me in the Old Testament, the only way for you to repent of that sin in the Old Testament is to disembowel animals, burn their entrails to a crisp, so that God can smell the delicious flavor of ash.
He loves that smell. Yeah. He loves the smell of burning flesh.
Ooh, that smell. That's not what that's about, but yeah, that's always kind of the crazy thing for me, because it's very obviously like, God is anti you having knowledge in general, like you thinking for yourself, you making decisions for yourself. When Eve was, I guess, convinced to eat the apple from the tree, she was eating from the tree of knowledge. That's the knowledge of good and bad. Like she was getting knowledge that it was bad to disobey God. And so it's kind of like a catch-22 situation. And that's always kind of messed me up a little bit.
Yeah. Knowledge is very, I don't know, it's very important to withhold from people, to control them. That's my experience in my life anyway. And anyway, thanks for your thoughts, guys, and have a good day.
All right. Thank you so much there, Frank. Appreciate you. Wow. All right.
Yeah, there seems to be a theme of like extreme consequences for like pretty, not so terrible actions in the Bible. Eat a fruit, and it's doom and gloom. People didn't listen to Noah, one dude who's like, hey, it's going to rain a lot. You should have listened. Now you're going to drown in a catastrophic flood.
Yeah. And we didn't get to ask where he lies theistically there. He kind of shot off the call kind of quick. But it is kind of interesting to hear people that don't necessarily, follow any kind of organized sort of religion, and not really understand the concept of like original sin and everything like that. Now, you as a former Pentecostal, I mean, is that a major part of like Pentecostal teaching? I know from a Southern Baptist or just a Baptist kind of point of view, it's definitely there, and they go there a lot of times, but I don't know how heavily emphasized it is in Pentecostal churches.
Yeah, I mean, basically every Sunday just ended up being an altar call. Like no matter what the sermon was about, it was just about how we're unworthy. You need to repent. He would start giving the altar call, like specifically, if anybody, blah, 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 come up to the altar. And then by the end, it's like, if anybody in here has 2 arms, get up here. And it's like, it's sin, and you need Jesus. And if you slip back, there's the risk of hell. And so it was just a lot of sin, hellfire, salvation, rededicating your life to Christ. There would be people rededicating their life every Sunday for, months. But yeah, a lot of talk of just sin and how we're not worthy. Worship songs are that, you're not worthy. We sinned, we screwed up, we suck, we need you, God. That's a worship song, basically. That's how it was at the church I went to. Yeah.
Yeah. So like coming out of religion and starting to really re-examine the whole concept of sin and everything, when you think about it, it is a very toxic kind of idea. And whenever I hear like Christian apologists now talk about sin or talk about Jesus' sacrifice and everything like that, you can always hear like the very self-defeating and sort of self-hating. Because the feeling that I get from a lot of apologists is just that, we're so shitty people just by nature that, we had to kill somebody in order to feel better about it or something. And it always kind of gets me whenever they talk about these things, because I recognize that kind of speech because I've been diagnosed with clinical depression. And I would have that kind of talk in my own head all the time. Like, it's not like I thought that somebody else was talking to me or anything like that, but it was just my own inner voice, like telling me all of the same things that you hear religious apologists, whenever they discuss sin. And it's crazy how that works.
Yeah. When it comes from religion, from a holy book, from an external source, from your God, telling you, basically that you're worthless, filthy, that you need him. Yeah, it's just embedded, of that's just who we are as people, that we're just unworthy and undeserving. It's pretty shitty when you think about it.
Yeah, it definitely is. So we do have a call that keeps going back and forth between the screening room, but I think that we can go ahead and take it now. Kevin, this is kind of like a baptism thing here on the show, because we've got Emmanuel on the line from California. Hi there, Emmanuel. How you doing?
How are you, Godless?
I'm doing pretty good. It's nice to hear from you again.
I assume that you already know the topic of the conversation.
Well, I mean, I don't like to take the wind out of people's sails. So, I mean, if you wanted to kind of introduce what you want to talk about tonight, that would be great.
Okay, thank you. So, I don't believe that we have free will. And I would say that's like an indication that the Christian doctrine is, valid. Earlier we were talking through the show, you were saying that, Adam and Eve, according to the Christian doctrine, God put them there, even though God, knowing that they will fall into disobedience. So, since I believe that, God predetermined our salvation before the foundation of the world, that seems like the best plan that God could have.
So in your view, God, yeah, can you hear me?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I could hear you. You just You was like silent for a moment, and I thought I cut out.
Well, yeah. So your view is that God specifically creates certain people so that He can send them to hell.
That's the Christian doctrine.
Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were describing what you thought about it.
Yeah, that's what I believe in. So what I think is, it's like you're making a clay, and a clay, when it's in the potter's hands, the potter could do whatever he wants, right? Right? Like, he can make him for honor, he can make him for dishonor. The property is just a property. He doesn't actually have any kind of autonomy over the maker. So I think it makes a lot of sense, that we don't have free will. And I think we could actually evaluate this concept that we don't have free will and everything is predetermined.
Well, so I feel like there's a bit of a conflict there, and maybe you can explain it, because one of the big talking points from a lot of apologists and religious people, or specifically Christians, is that God gave us free will so that we could make the free will decision to accept Him, and like God didn't want to create robots that would just automatically believe in Him. But you're saying that it's more in line with Christianity for God to make these robots that would automatically believe in Him, but He also further makes other robots to torture for eternity. Is that correct?
So what I think is, I wouldn't put it in that way. So you're saying that He made us in a way that robots are made. What I was trying to say is the feeling that we have, the emotions that we feel, like sinful thoughts and sinful actions. I think God probably knew, but He actually chose a certain people, and He sent Christ to save those chosen people. So those people who are not elected, they don't have the choice to actually believe in Jesus. I think that's more in line with the Christian doctrine. If God could do everything, we don't
hold
have.
Hold on one second, Emmanuel. So I get that you say that, but what I hear from you is basically that the only true Christian is the Christian that never deconverts. Is that true?
That is correct, because
see, that's just a no true Scotsman. It's a no true Scotsman fallacy there, bud.
If you truly believe in Christ and you have the Spirit of Christ, why would you deconstruction? One of my friends, he used to be our leader.
Hold on, Emmanuel. Hold on one second, okay?
Okay.
Because Kevin, I mean, he was all into it, and so Kevin, Emmanuel is saying that you were never truly a Christian, that you were, I guess, maybe faking it or something. Yeah. What do you think about that?
It was real to me, damn it. That's how I feel. I mean, I believed as much as anybody else could believe. And yes, that was referencing the wrestling thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I believed. I was all in. I thought I heard from God. I thought I talked to God. I read the Bible. I mean, I just stopped believing at a certain point. And so what you're saying that God knew that was going to happen. He made me knowing that I would believe and then stop believing, and that I'm going to go to hell for that now.
I can't say what your part will be, because maybe in the end, maybe you'll change your mind. I don't know what will happen in your future, but I remember one of my closest friends. He used to be a very Christian. He used to be a very Christian person, and now he don't believe in God. That God exists. He became a agnostic atheist. So what I would say, those people who actually did convert, they might be sincere Christians from the beginning, but they were not born again, truly born from God. And I don't
So
think
why
that
would
you used to.
but I get that. Hold on. I get that you're thinking that God is creating the people that he wants to then bring back into heaven, which is a different. I mean, we can discuss that here in a minute, but you understand that, like, as a matter of the logic of your argument here, God therefore creates people specifically to live on this earth, dedicate a good portion of their lives to serving him, believing in him, sincerely believing in him, but ultimately he's going to toss them into a lake of fire, or he's going to torture them for eternity or something like that. He specifically, I just want to know if you acknowledge this. God specifically creates people so that he can torture them for eternity after they die.
I'm saying that makes a lot of sense when you think about, there are like
what kind of
tiny
fucking
insects,
sense do you think that makes?
Okay, I'm trying to give an illustration. For example, let's say a fly is going, let's say you open a door and a fly just it just got into the house, and you'll probably like kill it because it's so small, it's so tiny, right? So it doesn't have a power over you. So since you're bigger than those insects, you could actually do anything with them, right? So what I think is, if God could save whatever people he could save, and God hardens a people's heart like Pharaoh hardened his heart, when Israelites were like slaves in Exodus, I think that makes so much more sense instead of the apologists that actually said that we have free will. If God could do everything, how can we have free will? It doesn't even make sense, even logically. So what I think is, if the shepherd died for the sheep, he didn't die for the goats. Even in that logic, the Christian logic. So I would not say that you are.
I'm sorry, Emmanuel.
Okay,
are you calling in to like argue against the existence of an all good God? Like, do you consider God to be omnibenevolent?
He's omnibenevolent only to the chosen people, not for everyone. Even the Bible.
That's not what omnibenevolent means. That's not what omnibenevolent, Emmanuel. That's not what omnibenevolent means. Omnibenevolent means that he's all good all the time. Well, he's good all the time, and all the time he's good. Huh?
Yeah, but he's not to all, He's good all the time for the chosen people, not for everyone. Because
so your main stance is that he can just. Your main thing is just God can do whatever he wants. That's the bottom line. Like, we're just GI Joes, and God's just can do whatever he wants with us, and some go to hell, some don't. What about people who are Christians right now? People who are like pastors right now, leading people to Christ every week, reading their Bible every day. Those people, if later in life they don't believe anymore, does that mean that they never really were a Christian? Or are you saying that God already knew that was going to happen? Or
yeah, God predetermined that to happen. That's my point. So you could be a Christian and with a very sincere heart. You might back away, but I think everything lines up with God's plan. Everything that happens in the world, I say God predetermined everything that will happen in the world.
Okay. Listen, if we have if we have no control, like in the Christian thought process, if there's no control over whether or not you go to heaven or you go to hell because God's already made that decision, what is the point in evangelism? Like, do you not believe in evangelism? And furthermore, what's the fucking point of you calling in?
No, so I do believe that we have to evangelize to all nations, because that's like one of the commandments. But
Emmanuel, stop right now. Fucking why? Okay. I want you to explain that. If God has already determined that whether or not I'm going to hell or going to heaven, why the fuck would you even care about evangelizing?
Because here again, I think the only way that you could actually call the people who are already chosen, how you figure out is you have to evangelize first. And if they accept your message, if they were predetermined to be saved, if they don't accept what you're saying, they're predetermined not to be saved. So that's how you know a person is pre-elected.
What? Okay. No, yeah. I don't. I mean, that makes so is God? Hold on. Is God? Do you? Because I mean it. Because what I'm hearing is that
those actions still have to be carried out. Like the actions of the people still have to be carried out. I think is what he's saying. Like God predetermines it. He knows what's going to happen, but it's still like the person who's evangelizing still has to carry out the action or evangelize for the thing that was predetermined to actually happen. Is that what you're saying? I don't know. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but yes, that's what I got from it.
Yeah, because if they don't hear, if I'm not telling you what's happening, then how do you know that a certain thing is going on? Like, let's say if there's like a pandemic and people are not warning you, how would you know if no one is like?
Well, because we're not all knowing. Like the hang up that I have right now with this whole concept is that you're telling me that God has created people specifically so that he can save them and bring them to heaven, right? But that itself is contingent upon them hearing the word of Jesus and accepting it and then being brought to heaven. I feel like is there not like some kind of fucked up contradiction here? Because like if God has created somebody to go to heaven, but it's purely contingent on them hearing about how, Jesus was sacrificed or whatever for their sins, like then God hasn't predetermined that they'll go to heaven. Like because they have to hear about it first. If evangelicals stop being evangelicals and they just let people do whatever in the fuck, then God's predetermined plan is foiled. So, like, this seems like very fucking contradictory at this point. Like, how can it be contingent upon that, but also be predetermined?
So here's what I would say, few are chosen, many are called, right? So using that logic, in the West, specifically in the United States, there was a growth in Christianity in the 80s and the 90s. Now, religion is pretty much declining. A lot of people, American churches are like on the decline because.
No, okay, how does this apply? How is this? How can you like? This seems like it's not actually tied to whatever in the fuck we're talking about now. Or in the discussion, because like I don't care what happened in the 90s. I mean, yeah, awesome that religion is declining, religiosity is declining, and the religious nuns are gaining. But I don't see how that has any bearing on God predetermining whether or not somebody's going to heaven. But that itself is contingent upon evangelicals doing their job, like that.
By the way, this is the best evidence for the Christian God. The evidence that I'm giving you right now. No, I can
guarantee you that it's fucking not.
It's because you feel like I think you're not understanding some of the things. What I'm saying. What I'm saying is, there's a prophecy in Scripture that money will fall away, and we're seeing it before our eyes, because we are getting closer to the end. That's what I think it is.
I mean, people have I don't think that it is, because prophecies are generally too vague in order to actually say that they've been fulfilled and stuff. So prophecies are never going to be good evidence whatsoever. But also, people have been convinced of Christianity and have left Christianity like throughout time. And I mean, true, in the United States, it built, you know, Christianity built, and then it started to, you know, fall away. That's happened before elsewhere in the world, in different times and different places, as other religions take over or other philosophies take over. Like, it's happened everywhere. Well, this is not something that's new. So how is this proof that we're coming upon the end times when this has happened multiple times before in the past?
Because if I made a prediction, let's say I made a prediction that 200,000 people will die with COVID, the genuinity or the truth of the thing that I'm saying is, how did my prediction came true? Was it accurate? Okay, how is it not the same?
It's not the same as like people will eventually fall away or people will not believe this. Like, if I were writing a book about a religion or whatever I was making up, I would also write in that book, people will eventually not believe this, or people will fall away from this, or people will mock God. Like, that doesn't prove anything, I don't think.
I mean, just like with the pandemic example that you gave there, we know how religions work. We know how societies work as far as like the religious aspect goes. People come into the religion, people believe the religion. That's a normal everyday thing that occurs. Just like with the pandemic, we know how viruses work. We know how these things operate. And once, you know, you figure out exactly how lethal a virus is, you can make reasonable predictions as to how lethal it will be, how many people it will kill if you don't take the proper precautions. These are just things that we can predict because we know how the phenomena works. This is just the predictive power of that. So this is not evidence of God. It's not evidence of anything other than just how societies and specifically religious groups, religious sects work.
Yeah, but what I think is the reason that we think the ways of God are foolishness to us is because it's like beyond our ability to comprehend. If I tell you that this is the gospel, this is the true gospel, and I testify the words of Jesus Christ, you're gonna think that I'm crazy or insane. The reason is, people can't make this thing up because it can only come from God. That's why we don't have the ability to know it 100%. Because
what can people not make up?
I said people can't make up of something that we can comprehend 100%. That's just like impossible.
I don't know. I'm thoroughly confused by the Lord of the Rings series. So, I mean, I feel like you could definitely make up some convoluted stuff that people won't understand. Like, that's not
for sure.
Yeah. What are your thoughts, Kevin? I've kind of dominated this a little bit.
Yeah, I don't really understand the last thing that you were saying there about how somebody can't make up something that we couldn't comprehend. I think that doesn't make sense. I think that's not true. And men literally wrote the Bible. Men wrote it, whether you believe it was God inspired or not. So I don't understand the point of saying that we couldn't write something that we couldn't comprehend. Can you explain what you mean?
I was just quoting from Paul's letters. So if you notice, one of the biggest evidence of the Christian God is we don't have the ability to comprehend 100%. They said this was the evidence that, the claims that we make and the scriptures that we quote is like true and genuine and, ultimately came from a divine source. because when you study other religions, those other religions, you can pretty much tell that they are man-made religions. For example,
You're talking about Paul, the guy who never met Jesus,
okay.
right? Talking about Paul, the guy who never met Jesus, his writings. Just wanted to clarify.
He didn't meet Jesus physically. Yeah, he didn't meet Jesus physically. He even admits that he is the last to be an apostle. So,
sounds like something he'd say.
Hello?
Yeah, we're here. We're waiting for you to make a point.
Yeah, I was just trying to say that this is like the most fact or evidence that we could give for the Christian God. The fact that we can't comprehend 100%. The fact that the predictions that were written in Scripture
let me ask you this.
are coming to pass.
Let me ask you this, Emmanuel. Why is it that God would have people, like he would inspire people to write the Bible that's supposed to describe him, and this Bible is supposed to communicate what we can do to be in his favor? Why is it that now it's, well, we can't understand God? Like, I feel like the purpose of the Bible is to explain God to us so that we don't piss him off and he doesn't fuck us up. Like that, at least in the Old Testament, that's supposed to be what the Bible's about, because you're supposed to read it every so often and you're supposed to follow the laws and all this other kind of shit. So it kind of seems to me like if we don't understand God, that's God's fucking fault.
No, I'm telling you this because I actually gave a very good example of my premise. Because my premise was God only saved those people who are chosen and elect. And if God gave this book or this scripture, and we can't understand, some people can't understand it, but some people believed it. If some people are like within heart and heart, we could say that God only saves those people who are chosen, and the other people are going to be judged. I'm sorry.
Then why create anybody who's not chosen? Just create chosen people.
I just,
what's the point?
Yeah, I just gave you this analogy of, if you're making something for your glory, let's say you're writing a book and you just wrote a very crappy book, right? And let's say you wrote another book which is like good and interesting and funny or whatever.
Too easy.
And if both books are your handwritings, both books are your hand production, but you could make it because you have the ability and power to create those things. That's what a potter does to the clay, because when a potter is making
I'm
clay,
sorry, how does this
break it off?
Emmanuel, I'm not seeing how this connects to our larger discussion. And I feel like we're kind of, we're in a death spiral now, because we're just chasing around the same arguments and you're just making the same points. And so, I mean, I'm gonna allow you to say your last little bit here, but from what I can tell is that, God apparently has now made, has made people specifically so that he could send them to hell, and he makes them knowing that he's going to send them to hell. So it kind of seems it seems rather shitty of God to do that. But I mean, we're going around in circles, and we do have other calls on the line now. So if you want to say your final piece, and then we can get to some other calls.
So the only thing that I said is this is the ultimate proof of the Christian God. And I want to say to the other guy who is with Godless Engineer that he might I would like him to rethink that if he was saved or not, because if you're once saved,
hey Emmanuel,
you couldn't lose.
Hey Emmanuel,
your faith.
Emmanuel.
I'm
nah,
sorry.
dude, nah.
I'm sorry.
This was terrible. Try again another day.
Okay.
This was god awful. This was so bad. This is maybe your worst call so far. Please try again another time. You have got to, if you're going to keep calling in and you're not going to call in engaging on the premise of, if I'm wrong, I want to know, but instead on the premise of nothing will change my mind and I will embrace any explanation, no matter how fucking stupid it is, as long as it purports to explain the bullshit I think, then don't bother calling again. Just fucking save it. And bye. I know John said he'd give you last words, and I'm cutting them off because we're getting less intelligent listening. Goodbye, Emmanuel.
Yeah. God?
Yeah, I was sorry. I as soon as Jimmy stepped in, I was about to stop Emmanuel because I mean, I'm not going to allow somebody like Emmanuel to come on here and like tell our guest you need to rethink sucking on that Jesus dick, okay?
Yeah, you're not calling a
it?
guest to repentance.
Yeah. It always comes back to that. You never really believed. That's always the final word. It seems like.
And I always hate it. I always hate it when they're like, oh well, I know you better than you know yourself. Like that seems to be their shtick all the time.
It's not the insult they think it is. I wish I could convince myself I was never a true Mormon. Jesus Christ. You know what the most embarrassing thing in the world to me is that I really fucking believed it. Hook, line, and sinker. It was my whole ass identity. When you tell me I was never a true Mormon, I just go, oh my God, thank you. Thank you for thinking that, for thinking that I would have been above that. Because to me, I definitely was, but your impression of me is higher than my own.
Yeah. Just to remind everybody that for any super chats, $5 or more, we will address here on the line. So if you want to say something that you can't call in or don't want to call in, but you still want to hear our opinions on it, definitely consider sending a super chat. But anyways, Kevin, you ready to jump into another call? Because we do have two theists that are probably not Emmanuel.
I would like some brain cells back. Yes.
Yeah. I don't know if we can get the brain cells back, but we are going to be talking to Mike from Florida. Hi there, Mike. How you doing?
Hey, how are you?
Doing all right.
Good.
Yeah, I'm not too bad either.
Cool. So what's on your mind?
Yeah, I guess I'm calling. Sorry. Yeah, I think we have a delay. I'm calling about human rights. Like how do we deal with human rights from a humanist perspective?
I'm not understanding like the question. Could you be a little bit more specific, like as far as human rights go?
Yeah, like do you guys believe that humans have innately some particular rights, like in general, like all humans do? And I guess I'm asking outside of legal rights, so not necessarily legal rights, just kind of innate moral rights that humans have.
What do you mean by moral rights?
Some, like the life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, stuff like that.
I don't think. Well, now, so I don't know where Kevin stands on this, but I don't think that we have innate rights. Like, I don't think anything has anything innate about it. I feel like, I can subjectively tell you what I think, what rights should be afforded to, everybody living in a society or everybody in the world. Like, I could tell you what rights I think should be afforded, but that doesn't mean that I think that they are innate to anybody that's just living. I think that humans are the ones that give rights to other humans in a society. I don't know. What do you think there, Kevin?
Yeah, I'm the same. Like, I mean, that's why we have laws. That's why humans have evolved to, we have empathy and we innately, I don't know. I don't think we innately have rights. It's a tough way to phrase that, I guess. We're all just born into the same world. We're born into societies.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I guess try to pinpoint it down. But the question is, do you guys think that? Well, I didn't catch the first speaker. I don't know your name. I'm sorry. But I think you said that they're man-given, and I think Kevin agreed. So if that's all there is just man-given rights, then that would be like through fiat, through decree, through statutory law, right? And so then people have different rights. So humans have different rights depending on where you happen to be geographically. Is that what we're saying?
I mean, I feel like that's representative of reality. I mean, like I don't have the same rights in North Korea as I do in the United States. I know at one point in time, I had to go to the UAE for a job, and that was right after Saudi Arabia criminalized being an atheist. And so that had me really worried because like if I were to go over there and be in Saudi Arabia, I could be locked up in jail because I don't believe in Allah, So, I mean, I feel like what you said is representative of the reality that we have. Yeah, every society determines what rights they afford to the people in their society, and I believe that we're seeing now where rights are being rolled back. I mean, I feel like if the religious right in America goes unchecked for the next, say, 5 years, I mean, we could see segregation come back. I mean, they're already making these arguments about how, bakers and people that don't even have an issue yet, they just want to be prepared to turn down a gay couple, are making these arguments, in the legal sphere about how, they should have the right to deprive people of just, public services. So, I mean, it seems to me like, yes, rights are given and taken away by humans.
Okay. Is it only states, like only governments that give rights to humans, or can?
I mean, I think whatever kind of societal situation that you're in, I believe that it's the society or whoever the ruling body is. Like, I mean, it's just how societies work. I mean, in large societies, you have governments. In like small hunter-gatherer groups, you've got whoever's got the biggest dick making the rules. So, I mean,
right. Okay, so yeah, so I would agree that essentially as far as legal rights go, these are all things by fiat. It's just might makes right, and that's the reality.
It's not might makes right necessarily. That's kind of a weird way to put it, because it's not might makes right. It's just whatever society you're in, whatever societal structure you're in, however that society's structured to not police, but to control its population or to enforce certain things on the population. However that's done, it's not necessarily might. If you look here in the United States, you've got this human turtle over there in Congress that has a lot of power and a lot of pull. He's definitely not mighty in that kind of sense, like might makes right, but he is powerful in the sense that people definitely want to make sure he's happy. Whether that's putting a coat of turtle wax on him, or if it's like, doing whatever else to make him happy, that they want to make him happy because he definitely has the power, the social and the political power. I mean, it's not necessarily might makes right in the way that you're suggesting, because it sounds like a misunderstanding of like the survival of the fittest and everything like that. It kind of seems like the road you're headed down.
Well, I mean, can you name a system of government that isn't relying upon the violence of the state?
The violence of the state? I mean, I don't understand. Like, can we try to recenter back to the actual question of like, human rights? Because I feel like we're kind of, diving into like complex government and societal structure kind of stuff that probably doesn't have any bearing on your actual question.
No, I mean, I think it does. I may not be communicating it very well, so thanks for bearing with me. But I think
Okay.
if we're only saying that rights only exist as a legal construct, and that's why I asked about moral rights. I think Kevin asked, well, what's a moral right? And so maybe I can clarify by touching that.
Okay.
Okay, so for like a moral right would be something that we can recognize, not necessarily exist, right? We can't touch it, just like we can't touch a legal right. You can't point to it and examine it. You could say it's a concept that's written out in a corpus of laws or a constitution or something, and then we act as if those things are real because there's supposed consequences. That would be like the legal right. We do the same thing with moral rights to say, we should treat people with respect and treat people the way you want to be treated, and certain, I guess, moral teachings, both from the past and the present, right? You don't have to invoke religion or anything, but anything that we can objectively say is moral and would bring about less suffering.
By objective, do you really mean absolutely? Because I find that with a lot of theists that they mean, because objective just means that you can step outside of your own position and then make some kind of determination about something. That's all objective means. I mean, okay, you're agreeing with me.
Yes, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah.
Okay.
But the thing with the moral right is that, that I don't think we have to look to a government, especially when all government is predicated on the use of force, and the history of government is essentially the divine right to rule, right? It's just, and I would argue that government is a religion in and of itself, especially in the States. You have all the hallmarks of religion with
while you have like replacing the state as replacing the religion with the state is a thing, but that's not indicative of all government bodies and governments in general. So that's just false to say right there. And I feel like for you to try to put government on the same pedestal as religion in that way, it just seems like you're trying to shift goalposts, or you're trying to shift something in order to make whatever argument you have for religion or God work. But I'm wondering if you can actually just point blank ask what your question is concerning like morality and I guess not believing in God, because I feel like that's the direction it's headed. All of this foreplay right here just isn't doing it for me. Could we just actually drill down to what the actual like issue is between moral? Because I feel like it has something to do with morality and not believing in God.
Yeah. I'm not trying to smuggle in God or support religion. I'm pointing out that a belief of government is a religion, and especially in the United States. I'm specifically talking about the United States form of government, that it has all the hallmarks of religion. Like there's
no.
What do you call them? Rituals.
Is that your argument?
Special places of worship.
Sorry to interrupt.
Right?
Is that what you're trying to argue here? Is that the United States government is religion? Is that the point of the call?
No, the government isn't religion, but those who like adhere to it and follow it and participate in a system of a religion, a system of worship. Like the higher power is the power of government, right? That they are worshiping rather than
it's not a system doesn't make it a religion.
It has rituals, right? You have people that wear funky clothes, and they do different rituals for swearing people in and for transitioning power.
Funky
and for
clothes? Like they're just business suits. Like it's not funky. Like that's just normal fucking clothing. Like it's not funky
what do
suits. You're talking about. So wait, hold on. Oh, okay. So you're talking about like judges wearing that kind of stuff, but I mean that's only part of our government, and I mean I don't know why they wear that kind of shit, but I don't really think that makes them a religion.
But it's right. It's a part of it, right? There's the rituals for swearing in people, like the highest offices in the land, right? They have a justice, come in and wear their robe. They're wearing this
hold on,
priestly
Kevin.
robes,
Kevin,
right?
when
like
you
priests in the past.
hold on, Kevin, I have a question to ask my co-host here, Kevin, or guest host. When you became Christian or part of any other denomination, did you get sworn into the denomination?
No.
Okay. So you didn't have to like put your hand on a Bible and swear to be Christian for all time.
I did not.
Okay, I didn't either. So I don't know what your comparison is supposed to be here, like with the oaths and all this other stuff. Like it.
Yeah. So let me clarify that there's the priestly class, right? Just like in any religion. So I'm not saying that parishioners have to swear in, but in order to be a priest in most religions, there is a ceremony that they do where they have other priests come in and lay on hands, or they have a Bible or a holy book that they do that's part of the ceremony. And the same thing is true in government when you swear in government, or even if you're just swearing in like an oath of office. Like
how about
literally
have you ever heard
swearing an oath is part of a religious practice?
Okay, hold on, Kevin. What are your thoughts?
How about like if you have a job and you go there from 9 to 5 and you go and you punch a time clock? These are all rituals, and you have higher ups. Does that make a workplace a religion too? I don't know. I don't understand the correlation.
No, that would be a routine. Like there's a difference between routine and ritual. Like ritual has, you have ceremony, you have iconography, you have special relics like the Bible and the robes of the priest, and you have special words that you do to invoke the special magical powers of the religion, like the oath that people swear when they swear.
The special magical powers of the religion. What part of the U.S. government do you think is fucking magical?
None of it, but it operates under the same fairy dust magic that religion does.
You just said that you speak these incantations to evoke the magical powers of the religion. I get that when we're talking about actual religion because it's magic, but like when we're talking about government, I'm not seeing the connection here between the magic. It's not like the judge is up there on his little desk, and then he's got his gavel, and then he says "Wingardium Leviosa," and then all of a sudden the person is transported back into jail or something like that. Like, I mean,
okay.
You ever heard of parallelomania?
Yeah.
You've heard what? Can you describe what parallelomania is?
No.
Then why did you say yes? Anyways,
I don't know what it means. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, well, basically it's when you see these parallels in these different things, like you finesse one particular thing to highlight parallels in another thing, but they're not actually parallel. Like they're not. You can't compare these two. Like you can't compare the government with religion, because the government operates differently than a religion does. For one thing, religions, they don't change so easily. They're very dogmatic, and normally it takes like a huge like upheaval in the religion in order to change anything about the dogmatic thing. But with government, our government specifically, it's easily changed just with people agreeing to change
Democracy.
it.
Yeah.
So you guys support democracy?
I mean, so currently the United States is a democratic republic. So it's a mixture between a couple of different, like, pure ideas there. But I mean, I don't know what you mean by you support democracy. Like, I don't like that. Seems like a weird question to ask somebody.
That's what it sounded like. Kevin was saying it's democracy, like that was a positive thing. I think it sounds like you guys are advocates of the government, and I'm pointing out that there are many parallels to how the U.S. government.
No, hold on. There's a difference between being an advocate for the government and telling you, hey, your comparison's kind of shit because you can't make a comparison between the government and religion in the way that you are trying to make it. There's a difference here. It's not like I'm defending the U.S. government. I'm just saying that you're wrong.
Okay, but how so? Like they still use Latin in the courts. You're talking about they don't use hocus pocus magic language, but they do. That's the courts run off of Latin phrases and terms.
When they speak Latin, do they expect any kind of fucking magical thing to happen?
Yes.
No.
What?
What fucking magical thing do you think is going to happen?
Dementors.
They yeah, they use their Latin phrases to invoke the power that they wield against people.
And see, can you not tell, like, are you a serious person?
Yeah, I'm not trolling you. I'm being serious.
No, because this is not like, nobody expects magic to happen in the courtroom. Like if they say any, and typically whenever they're using Latin, they're describing certain concepts in the legal system that started with describing it in Latin or whatever in the fuck. It doesn't really matter because they're not expecting, for them to say, fuck, I'm trying to think about a Latin phrase in the legal system right now. It's right on the tip
Habeas
of my
corpus.
tongue. Habeas
E
corpus.
pluribus
There you go.
anus.
E pluribus anus. There we go. I mean, it's not like they say those things or that they have those phrases and it somehow magically produces something. There's no magic concerns in it. So I don't understand. Like, I just don't think that you're being serious right now. Like, I'm not convinced of that.
I am. But just like I would say that the Christian, because I come from that Christian background as well and deconverted out of that. Like, I don't think they really believe some magical thing is happening, right? They don't. There is no connectors, right? They just invoke some, sometimes quote scripture, right? Quote Bible stuff, or will say some magic hocus pocus prayer that is passed down through doctrine or dogma, and will expect a result without actually having to do the linkage between the utterance of the phrase and the manifestation of the thing. Just like in the courts, though.
So hold on. Before you move on, hold on. Before you move on, from my and I'm going to let Kevin answer this here in a second. From my personal experience, I definitely expected magical shit. Like when I prayed to God and I was like, God, I will do this if you help me do this. Right? Like I expected some magical shit to happen. We've heard it in the political sphere, ironically, about magical shit happening. What's that one? Who's that one guy? Ben Carson. He thinks God delivered him special knowledge in order for him to pass his doctor, his test to become a medical doctor, or whatever test he took. It was magical. Now hold on before you continue. Kevin, did when you were a Christian, did you believe in like the magical like effects of God?
Absolutely. And yeah. I mean, I expected. I was having conversation with God. The Holy Spirit was flowing through me. I expected God to be able to make things happen based on me asking, just simply asking for things to happen, So yes.
Sure. Not to mention most of the people in almost all of the Abrahamic religions believe that God constantly is healing non-visible illnesses that are already capable of spontaneous remission. But Mike, I have a quick question. Did you used to call the show under the name Steve?
No, I just called the first time last night. I talked to Jimmy and Matt.
This is Jimmy. I guess I forgot.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. What did we talk about? No, just quickly. I'm not trying to be mean.
No, we're good. We talked about God as a concept of like the highest good. And
oh yeah, I remember. Hey, why were you fine giving pronouns yesterday but not today?
I didn't yesterday. I had the same response yesterday and today.
I don't remember us having somebody with no response yesterday.
Yeah, Dragon said, what did he say? He said, I'll put down whatever you want. He's like, you sound like a guy, so I'll put down he, him. Is that okay? Yeah, it doesn't matter. I'm not offended either way. Whatever you want.
And that's what you think the function is of asking pronouns is offending or not offending someone?
Well, he said that's the purpose was something to that effect. When I asked him.
Well, no, the purpose is because first of all, Mike, I actually have two female friends named Mike who have she, her pronouns. And the fact that over the phone, you just can't know Even if we say usually, like we have two gentlemen on the show that most people are going to guess he, him with both of them and guess correctly because they male present and then their names are John and Kevin, which are often associated. So the function of it is literally just for live chat. And yes, we're being respectful also because other people who call in, they're not always going to have the traditional stuff, but for live chat, comments and everything, the live chat looks so ridiculous, like a bunch of robots talking to each other because they just keep having to call you caller or Mike instead of like, that's how robots would talk to each other instead of using pronouns. So in the future, anyway, if you're fine offering them up, just telling people what you should be referred to when they're talking about you. Other people I would have roasted much harder. I'm giving you full good faith. I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt that you're acting in good faith. In the future, if you don't mind sharing it, it's a utility for the chat. It's not something to make you feel fuzzy or offended.
Yeah,
cool.
It's all good. I talked to who I was on the phone with today, but I'm not even partial to my name. So like Mike, Michael, Bob, like as long as I know you're talking to me, I'll respond to it. It doesn't really. I don't really.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, pronouns aren't about who's talking to you, right? We don't really use our pronouns when talking back and forth. But anyway, I've taken away from the call long enough. You just sound suspiciously like a person who used to call into the show called Steve. But right. I'll believe you when you say you're not Steve.
Yeah, you can call me Steve.
All right. So
the first time calling in was last night.
All right, listen, Robert. So now the entire point of the call is just to say that the government is a religion, and if that's it, I feel like we've kind of dealt with that.
Yeah, no, we kind of got sidetracked. I don't think we did deal with it. I don't know if you've actually dealt with that before, and it seems like maybe you could look into it more, and we can talk about it again. But I think the point was
I really don't need to look into that more.
I'll take. Wait. I'll take it next time I'm on. Call me Mike, and I will take it with you. I would have gone a totally different. They didn't go a bad direction. I would have gone a completely different direction with you. And
yeah.
I see. Yeah, definitely call me. Call me with this topic. Okay. I'm not. You can hear the shit-eating grin in my face. I'm gonna. Yeah. All right. Just do it. Just do it. Yeah. Call when I'm on next time.
All right.
Yeah. No.
All right. So Rufus, what is
about rights? Yeah.
What did you actually want to talk about instead of the government religion? Because we've been going for about 25 minutes. We still have one more call and super chats to do. So we kind of need to progress this a little bit forward. So if you could definitely tell me there, Steve, what you want to, what's the point with the moral rights and everything like that?
Sure. So I guess I'll put my stake in the ground and then you guys can react to that instead of me asking you questions. I think we're in agreement that you put your stake in the ground as far as rights exist by fiat, by other people attributing them, and I think we're in agreement with that. And I would categorize those as legal rights if they're cataloged that way, like in a legal framework. But I think moral rights are another aspect of I would say all humans would have moral rights, and not by fiat of any kind of god or deity, but just on, I guess, a utilitarian viewpoint of we can find that it's objectively better to treat everybody as if we had these intrinsic moral rights. So, for instance,
who gets to dictate?
And we're going to borrow some. What's that?
Who gets to dictate what is a moral right?
Yeah, it wouldn't be a dictate. It would be kind of like I think Matt talks about.
No, you'd have to dictate it
yourself. No, that would be a
you understand
right.
that it's inherently it's inherently subjective though, because everybody's going to have a different set of moral rights.
Yeah.
Well, so right, you would apply a utilitarian approach to it. So yeah, there's going to be a subjective approach and how you experience things. Like what is
that's dictating. You understand that that's dictating though. Like you're already dictating adhere to a utilitarian idea. Like that's, I mean, no, there's no way you can escape it there, Frank, that that you would be dictating in some kind of fashion.
Well, that's the point. The differentiation between a civil right or a legal right versus a human right, and the dictate would be through some kind of society dictator or somebody writing it down in a wall and saying you must do this X, Y, and Z, or we recognize these rights for humans in this geographical location, and that geographical location recognizes these rights. We're saying beyond that, regardless of what government says, we can treat each other.
Samuel, listen, you're trying really hard to get around the fact that that there's a subjective nature to these moral rights that you're talking about. Everybody, just listen. Everybody is going to have a different set of moral rights that they think people should have. So unless you dictate in some kind of fashion what those moral rights should be, then you're going to have everybody thinking that a different thing about what these moral rights are. You seem to have this idealized version of moral rights where everybody recognizes the same base idea of moral rights, and that's just simply not how anything has ever worked.
Nope.
So everybody has an experience of suffering, and everybody's witnessed suffering. So that's the moral landscape that we can operate under. That yes, there's a subjective component. I'm trying to get away from that. I acknowledge that, but there is an objective analysis of having your arm fucking chopped off versus stubbing your toe. Like one's going to cause more suffering than the other, and you can do an objective analysis to that subjective experience. Of course, there's going to be subjective experience because we're talking about suffering and people's capacity to suffer.
I don't understand what the whole suffering thing has to do with it, but we have been talking for about 30 minutes here. If you wanted to maybe make a last point or summarize or something like that, we do have one more call and super chats to get through, so we do need to wrap up.
All right, yeah, thanks. So I think we can operate as if there are such things as moral rights, and with that, essentially, you're working with a metaphorical truth, right? Something like the gun is always loaded. Well, we know factually the gun isn't always loaded, but if we treat it as if the gun is always loaded, then it's going to be objectively a better outcome for everybody. And we can do that similar idea with human rights. Like it's objectively better for me not to take other people's shit. It's objectively better for me not to cause harm to another person or their property. Right, and because you
seriously hold on
if that happens to me.
And hold on, and you seriously think that unanimously everybody will agree with you about that?
No, you don't have to have consensus, and that's the thing. Like it's just how do I walk through the world with a moral framework and treat people with dignity and human rights?
Peter, listen, you thinking that not everybody has to agree with it is contradictory to the entire idea that you're proposing here, because the entire idea that you're proposing here is that everybody agrees on these supposed objective moral rights that we can be objective about, but that's not how humans have ever worked. So you're being internally contradictory with your argument here, and I just don't see any way around it. We do appreciate you calling in, and I hope that you can call in and give Jimmy a lot of shit. But we do need to move on.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah. All right. Thank you, Samington. I was trying to make a point with the whole name thing because I think it's dumb as fuck for you to be like, call me whatever you fucking want to. Oh, okay. Well, I will change every 5 minutes what I call you. Anyways,
my confidence at the beginning of the call is, hi, I'm a person who thought there was some point to be made in not sharing just simply what my pronouns are, and I'd like to discuss human rights. Was like, okay, yeah, this person seems like they don't have a side of this that isn't tremendously imbalanced, but whatever. Good, let's do it. Yeah, I'm ready if he calls me. I'll take it.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. We do have Kenny. We do have Kenny from Montana to get to. We are kind of running out of time, but hi there, Kenny. How you doing?
Nope. Bye, Kenny. Fuck you. I don't even care.
Well, that was quick.
Oh my God, you killed Kenny.
Yeah, I don't even care if Kenny was going to actually try. Apparently Kenny had said to somebody that they were going to be able to convert everybody on the simple call that already raised a red flag, and to just cough into the phone. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck you in the fucking face. I don't give a fuck. This is not a democracy. I'm in charge, and you can go fuck yourself. Everybody send super chats. Otherwise, we have to sell the show to Mike, Sam, Tom, Steven, Louise, Frank, whatever other names.
The third.
Yeah.
Third.
It's super chat time, everybody. There's only a couple of them. That is what pays for the show. That's what keeps everything going. You want to keep seeing shows every night. Send in your questions. Send in your comments, things that you want to have read out. Send in your comments about perhaps where you might have tried to, some responses you might have had for Emmanuel, some responses you might have had for Mike. Mike was, I do remember Mike now. Last week when Austin and Forrest were doing a show. Yeah, there was a Mike who called in that night who would not shut up and would keep talking over. And there was this moment where I was getting him to just try to stop talking to him. So I just started saying, Mike. I think we went through like 108 mics before he finally shut the fuck up. It was, we got a history with mics. But anyway, send in those super chats. That's how we pay for the show. That's how we keep the lights on. It's how everything keeps going. Otherwise, we do have to sell the show to a series of mics. And nobody wants that. Why is this not working? 1 second. The super chat system is kind of being a little bit shitty. How about now?
Less than super, you might say.
Less than super, indeed. Indeed. All right, here we go.
All right. So first up is $4.99 from the Raven 200. It says, just wanted to say I appreciate the work the line does, and I adore the host. Except you, Jimmy. Go play marbles in traffic. Oh, damn.
Yeah, that one's tough. That one's graphic.
Harsh.
That one's, I agree, quite harsh. That is quite harsh. Right. By the way, for people who wonder, we only have like 2 more, so definitely hit those in now. Let's keep these people here all night. Send so many super chats, nobody goes to bed. That's what I'm into.
All right, Kevin, do you want to read this one?
Sure. $4.99 from the Raven. I feel a little more sad every time Emmanuel calls. He's like an abused spouse suffering from Stockholm syndrome. You can't see how toxic his views are. Good old Emmanuel.
I mean, I definitely feel like Emmanuel's call tonight was pretty has a pretty toxic message to it, because I really couldn't get, maybe people notice, I couldn't get past the whole idea of God creating people specifically to like send them to hell. Like that seems like a pretty shitty thing to do, but of course, Emmanuel thinks, oh, well, God's good to the people that suck his dick. So
that's Westboro Baptist Church shit. That I'm not even kidding. Like that's their thing is like, it's like, no, we're not saying that like gay people can repent and still go to heaven. We're saying they're gay because God made them gay because they hate them, because God hates them. They're definitely, there's nothing they can do about it. We're just out here to tell you there's nothing you can do about it. And we believe God is telling us to tell you that he hates you. Which is fucking wild. What a fucking wild place to line up. And my impression of Emmanuel and what Emmanuel was describing is that, well, just based on his calls in the past, that he's gotten to this place where every time he calls in, and by the end of the call, he agrees that he's wrong or that what he said was stupid. But then he will say, so like, I got him to admit evolution is a demonstrated fact. And he goes, well, evolution's a demonstrated fact, but the Bible disagrees, so I go with the Bible. And it's literally like, holy fucking shit, man. Like you have basically said, nothing including the truth can change my mind. Nothing including facts can change my mind. Even if you prove, and it reminds me of my own dad. My dad had at one point, we were talking and we were arguing, and I asked him, I was like, okay, what could change your mind? What, if anything, could change your mind about the existence of God? And he said, if God himself told me I was wrong. if God told my dad that he doesn't exist, my dad would realize that he was wrong. Like, and they say these types of things. And they one time he also said to me, I'm more sure God exists than I'm sure you exist. And I was like, oh, you idiot, you stupid person. Because the line you just used only sounds good in elders quorum. That's like the Mormon Sunday school for just men. It only sounds good in elders quorum. Like clearly somebody got up and said like, and then I said to the atheist, I'm more sure God exists than I'm sure you exist. And then the atheist collapsed to the floor and ceased to exist. He actually got Thanos into dust or something. Like you heard some fucking story like that. And you went, hey, you know what's a smart thing? I'm going to say that same thing. I'm going to tell a person I'm more sure this absolutely invisible hiding thing, I'm more sure that it exists despite the fact that I believe it tries to conceal its existence from people. I'm more sure of its existence than I am sure that you, who I can verify through basically every model we've seen of verification, and I spent my life and intentionally try to, for me, bring you into existence. And I've had all of these totally affirming things. I'm more sure of the other guy. And I basically went through that whole thing and I was like, do you realize all you've said is I'm stupid and I shouldn't be taken seriously? And he kind of laughed and actually, my dad actually does sort of appreciate when he gets completely owned. Like it kind of, you can tell it makes him mad, but he's also impressed a little bit. And it was one of those situations. Anyway, do either of you want to fight my dad?
Hit me up with that voice recording between you and God. You know, next time you have a conversation with God, make sure you record it on your phone. Play it back for me. You know, if you're more convinced that he's real than I am.
That's not, you know, I'm not saying that's how it works. Wait, did I accidentally skip this one? Did someone read the Stockholm Syndrome one?
Yeah, I did.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Cool. All right. Well, here's another one.
All right, this is 5 from James Call. It says, apparently I'm God's prop piece in Emmanuel's story. Jesus Unfollower, nice to meet a new voice.
Hey.
Yeah, definitely.
Hell yeah.
Definitely go and follow Jesus Unfollower, which seems a little weird to say, but
what's even funnier than that? You know what's even funnier than that is somebody named Jesus Follower followed me on TikTok. So it was Jesus Follower followed Jesus Unfollower on TikTok, and I was like trying to piece that one together in my head.
Careful, he might try to follow you into like an alleyway next. Just saying.
Wouldn't put it past.
Watch your back, Jesus Unfollower. You're probably waiting on me, huh?
All right, Kevin, you want to take this one?
Sure. $4.99 from the Raven, 200. I unironically enjoyed Kenny's call more than Mike's, Rob's, Terrence's, Zangetsu's call. Hope I said that right.
I think Zangetsu might be a Pokemon.
I didn't know if it was Pokemon or anime or what. I don't know.
Oh no, it's from Bleach.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. The anime, not the cleaning chemical.
Yeah. So apparently, I just wasn't understanding the thing that Mike was trying to like the argument that Mike was trying to make. Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I didn't really understand like where he was going with the whole government as a religion thing. So maybe I just wasn't understanding it.
It's here's what I think. I think that Mike is probably a deconstructing theist because we never asked him why or what God he still believes in. And I think, without giving away too much, because I don't want to give away what direction everything's going to take if he does call me, but I think he's currently in that libertarian phase where everything that even remotely reminds you of anything religious that has any overlap with religion, now it is religion and it has those things. And so, it's a pretty common. I don't know for a fact. I don't know what race or religion Mike came from. But it's like a pretty common ex-evangelical white dude thing to do, to stop in at libertarianism and to apply that a little excessive in your too broadly, I think that's probably what's going on.
I think the chat would
I think the best thing out of
the chat will agree with me no matter what I say. These are a bunch of the chat's full of a bunch of Jimmy simps. I'm just kidding. I love chat. They're the best.
While he was talking.
Oh, well then maybe I stole it from them.
Yeah, you might have stolen it.
Well, I think the best thing out of that conversation was E pluribus anus.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. I'm looking forward to the next 100 chats disagreeing with me that actually chat hates me. There's no Jimmy Simpson chat. Hey, did y'all see that you can, I think it's only on mobile, but you can live react now to fucking little things are popping up in the chat when people are hitting the hearts and they're hitting the hunted thing, the 100, you know what I'm talking about?
100, keeping it 100.
Keeping it 100. Yeah. God, I'll never be cool enough to say words like that. It just hits the ear poorly when I try. Would you guys like to hear me? Would anyone like to hear me rap? I actually used to freestyle battle in college. Anyway, did we read the last one?
Dabbled.
Yeah,
we did.
My dad said he was more sure that I had a joke, but it fell apart. It was gonna be something like my dad was more sure of the validity of church hymns than that my beats were sick. So, but it all fell apart. It's terrible, fucking terrible. Someone in chat said Jimmy Snow could kill someone on Fifth Avenue and chat would still love him. Solid reference.
Yeah. So 666 from the Ware Lemur 1138, which I have to say that's probably the worst of the wares there. But I have no idea how to make sense of either Emmanuel or whatever the fuck his name is. They were both utterly incoherent. I don't know. What do you think there, Kevin?
Yeah. It was hard to understand either the point of either one of those. It would just talk and not really make any what seemed to me to be any valid points. It was just talking for the sake of talking and putting words in our mouth a little bit, especially what's his name, the last guy, saying things like, "Oh, so you think government is God or religion?" Then it's like, no, wait, I didn't say that. That's it seemed like trying to get a gotcha with the whole government thing. Maybe
you're just closed-minded.
Like it. Yeah, obviously that's the issue.
Open your mind and see. Anyway, here's another one.
$5 from Blake Walker. $5 from Blake Walker. I'll never catch you live until now. I never catch you live until now. Ponying up for all the good shows I've enjoyed. Jimmy, go fuck yourself.
What did I do? Here's what I'm gonna do. Because we got to pay for these shows, people. Look, these are expensive. The call system's expensive. I'm an asshole, so my time is expensive. If we get 10 more super chats of $5 or more starting now, I'll do a cuz I wanna, probably Friday, but this weekend. If is that any value? And that's when Mike can call in and we can do our thing. You know what I mean? That sounded not like what I mean though.
Private call.
Yeah.
All right, so we got 20 Canadian from Kathleen Moncrief, who says, I would love to hear about why you're not a mythicist. I am quite ambivalent about it myself and not even sure how much it matters in the end, but for some reason I love hearing about this issue. So I don't know if maybe that was directed towards you, Kevin. I just was like, I don't care if anybody's a mythicist or not. I personally am, but I don't hold any ill will against people that aren't.
No thoughts,
I don't
Kevin?
really know where I fall. I don't know where I really fall on that. To me, it doesn't matter if there was a Jesus or not, if there was people named Jesus or not. Either way, I don't think it was the Son of God. So I don't really have a strong opinion on that, on mythicism.
Yeah. My whole thing is I'm not a mythicist. Okay, they want to know why you are. I'm not a mythicist simply because that does now seem to be a position that if you're going to hold it, you need to be ready to defend it. And not only have I not done the work to be ready to defend the mythicist position, I probably don't intend to, because I think it's a really not. I don't think at the present moment in time it's a very meaningful endeavor for my direction in this space.
Yeah.
Well, I think that it definitely does take a lot of time in order to familiarize yourself with the discussion in general, just because it is such a large discussion. But I know that Kathleen was wondering why I'm a mythicist. Well, so that's kind of it's not really a long story. Basically, I found myself in a position where I was in groups and I was like, oh, Jesus definitely existed. I don't know what y'all are talking about. And so somebody's like, oh, well, give me evidence. And so I went looking for evidence, and I just can't find any solid evidence that's convincing that Jesus existed, like in history, because when you get down to it, and I know that I am very contrary to a lot of people out there, but really what it comes down to and how I see it is that we have one source for Jesus, and that's Paul and his hallucinations, and that's it.
Okay, well,
the gospel.
John, I'm more sure.
Fuck yourself.
I'm more sure that Jesus exists than I'm sure that you exist.
Got him.
Got him. But yeah, so Paul is the only source that we have in history that's an independent source that talks about Jesus, what he did, and everything like that. In the Pauline Creed, it says that the only way that Paul knows, or whoever came up with the creed knows, that Jesus died, was buried, and resurrected is all because of the scriptures. So, and it's a lot deeper than this. There's a lot more topics surrounding it and everything like that, of course. But I'm giving you kind of a brief overview here to get through the super chat. But it seems to me like Paul only knows about Jesus and his sacrifice and the theology because of the scriptures, and nobody added to his message, as we're told in Galatians 2. So it kind of seems like you can easily develop Christianity completely out of the Old Testament, mixed in with a bunch of mystery cult stuff, and that's pretty much how you got Christianity. That seems to be a lot more parsimonious with the evidence that we currently have, and I'm more than happy to talk to people, talk their ears off about why any of the other pieces of evidence that are typically brought up are not actually pieces of evidence that place Jesus on earth. So that's, I guess, a quick elevator rambling rant. So subscribe to my channel if you want to learn more about how Jesus can get fucked.
And just for the record, we need 7 more people to send super chats of 5 or more if you all want that episode, because I wanna. And I assure you, it's not a bluff. I will take the day off and build a goddamn birdhouse. I'm happy to build a birdhouse. So y'all, yeah. And I'm not going to let birds actually in it. It's going to be an empty birdhouse. It's going to be just mockingbirds that could live in it. It might mock mockingbirds.
Jimmy, well, how are you going to keep birds out? Like, are you going to do the thing where you put up like saran wrap on like the doors and the windows?
Just glass over the door. That's it.
Just plug the hole.
Cork it.
I can just see your neighbors coming by being like, why are there a bunch of dead birds out here?
Yeah, fucking, they're going to keep hitting it at full speed, thinking that they're about to land in the nest within it. And that's going to soften their blow. Head first into the thing. I'm going to make a death trap of a, this is making me sad. I like birds. Please don't make me do this. Send in 7 more super chats. I don't want to kill all those birds.
We had a funeral for a bird.
Did you?
Reference for you.
Oh, it was for the
no.
Okay. Oh yes, we had a funeral for a bird. I got it.
I occasionally like to tweet out, like, every time I think life's getting bad, I just think to myself, at least they never did surgery on a grape. And then somebody always posts the news article that's titled "They Did Surgery on a Grape," and I'll just reply like, "Oh my god," or something like that. It's such a stupid joke, but I love it. Anyway, 6 more. We need 6 more now, but we've got still some to read.
Oh wait, I don't think we read that last one.
All right, let's go back.
Yeah, we did.
Probably won't be mean toward me at all.
No.
$10.
Kevin, you want to take this one?
Yeah. $10 from Too Young to Feel This Old. Love the hosts, but I would humbly request that Jimmy might go diddle himself thrice with an unsanded piece of pine heart emoji.
Fine. You didn't say it had to be unplaned. Okay. You don't know how good my planers are. I could make that shit glass. Not that fucking glass is great, but it's better than splinters. You think that you don't scare me? Unsanded piece of pine. Pine is soft. I can practically smooth pine with just a different piece of wood. Are you shitting me? Fucking idiot. No, I'm just kidding. I love you, buddy. Thank you, Too Young to Feel This Old. I think Too Young to Feel This Old has sent me No, it was Raven. Somebody has sent me super chats before asking me to roast them, and I was like, well, on the spot, it's hard to do, but it comes out.
Yeah. So Dirty Red, $5 from Dirty Red just says, Jimmy, build the table. I don't know what that means. Is it? I think
Shannon's
a reference.
Table? Yeah, I think it's a reference to the coffee table that Shannon and Paul are debating. Are they still, or is it just over? Is the debate over?
I mean, I feel like the debate's over. I mean, there's no coffee table. She just has like a little wooden thing in the middle of the couch.
We should. Oh my god, we should do a patron goal where if we get a certain number of patrons, we'll have an official debate and a method by which a winner is designated. And that official debate will be Shannon being pro coffee table versus Paul being anti, like an actual hour-long debate.
Yeah, KC likes it.
I think this would be amazing. Okay, we're
winner
down to...
by poll.
Go ahead.
Winner by poll?
Well,
like you do a poll as to who the winner is?
I think we'd have to get 3 non-biased judges because the poll, you could just take the poll at the beginning and the winner's going to be the same, right? Like that's how it works. So I think 3 unbiased judges who really feel, I feel like it could be dope.
KC's offering to judge.
KC, I think you have it. Okay, KC, I've known you for 5 years now, right? You've never not had an opinion on something in your life. You are not an unbiased judge. Let's not pretend you fit the bill. What'd she say?
She says that she genuinely doesn't care. She genuinely doesn't care about coffee tables. So yeah, we've both had and not had coffee tables. So
yeah, all right. I'm suspicious, but anyway.
She loves both of them, so it's totally not biased.
Okay, but everybody loves. Anytime there's more than one person, you always love somebody more. We shouldn't announce who it is, but between all of us, we all either love Shannon or Paul more individually. That's just a fact of life. It's just true.
It's like on Curb Your Enthusiasm. When Larry and Cheryl get divorced and they have to choose, people have to choose. We're going with Cheryl or we're going with Larry. You always pick a side.
You always pick a side. Anyway, we still need 5 more. Otherwise, I'm not doing that because I wanna. 5 more if y'all want that because I wanna, and then Mike can call in. Jimmy sounds lazy. The fuck does that mean, Sherry? The fuck is that?
I'd love it if somebody super chat and berated me about being a mythicist. Like that.
Do it.
I mean, I just get that on a daily basis, but pay for it, I guess.
Yeah. Give us money to read our insults to ourselves.
Yeah.
Are you into that, John?
I mean, you would think so if you looked at my like Twitter and other stuff. So like he just likes being berated.
Someone in chat just said they like Forrest more than Jimmy. Did my mom get a YouTube account? What is going on? How is this happening? What's going on? You and me both, buddy. Anyway, is someone going to read this?
Yes.
Yeah, Kevin,
I will.
Jeez,
$4.99 from Melody Kate, just because you asked.
Y'all keep getting sidetracked for some fucking reason.
It's probably this ominous voice.
Yeah.
$5 for Dirty Red that says, because I want to hear about woodworking.
You know, on Cuz I Wanna, maybe that's what I'll talk. Maybe if I do the Cuz I Wanna, I'll build a birdhouse while taking calls. That would be awesome. That would be fucking amazing. I'm thinking about it. I don't think we're gonna hit it, y'all. Look, if you get those super chats in now, we need 4 more. We just got another, so we need 4 more if you want that Cuz I Wanna on most likely Friday, but might be Saturday.
$10 from Eric. Money to make the new guy say Fergal Burgle Menurgle Burgle.
You got it right. You pronounced it right.
That's one of those magical incantations you got to say in court.
That's right. Yeah.
I think I only got it right because I've seen Matt say it a couple times. So
yeah. If you ever get
otherwise, I would have been all over the place.
If you ever get audited by the IRS, if you say that phrase, they reduce your penalty by 20%.
Is that one of those Latin? Is that one of those Latin phrases that they say in government?
Yeah. In fact, all of you are saying it wrong. It should be Fairglay, Bearglay, Menerglay, Bearglay. It's and you're supposed to roll the R's, idiots. Let's see. I like calling people that I think are smarter than me idiots. I think we're down to. I think we need 2 more still. I think we just need 2 more. What did you say about a trill?
Casey was correcting you. Is that you got to trill your R's? Apparently, I can't do that.
What's a trill? What's a trill versus a roll?
What's the difference between a trill and roll? It's the appropriate term. That's it. That's all.
Oh, is it the same thing? But it's the same thing, it's not. Okay, I see. Wow, that was a trilling piece of trivia. No, okay. I'm just gonna go end my life. Did someone read this one? Yeah, they did. Okay.
I laughed.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
Yeah, we did.
It was a courtesy laugh. I've heard your real laugh. It comes from the belly. That wasn't the real one. There, that one's closer.
There's the real one.
Halfway.
Yeah. So $5 from I Got Cookies says, John, so you think Paul existed? Genuinely asking. So yeah, I mean, there are people out there that think that Paul didn't exist. But I mean, as far as what we have evidence for is that we know that we have 7 epistles that were written by the same person who identifies himself as Paul. So I don't see any reason to doubt that the person's name was Paul, or that any of the things in it are fabrications in the way of like, oh, they were just making up a story. They didn't really do these things. I don't see any reason to doubt that. Now, that's not to say that there are interpolated parts of Paul's letters. There's one in Thessalonians. There's one possibly even in the Pauline Creed. But I'm perfectly fine with Paul existing. I'm even fine with John the Baptist existing. I believe John the Baptist is even mentioned by Josephus. So I don't mind that either. But none of those things can show that Jesus existed in history. So, which I know is not what she asked, but
I don't know. The story of Paul, I'm just supposed to believe that his name was Saul, and then he was like, oh, time for a new name. Here's what I'm going to do. Just back up 2 letters. Ridiculous. Oh, I can't think of a more. This is
not creative at all.
This is how clever I am. Hey, you all want music? What if we've added music to this bitch? Let's do that, and then that, and then just
random.
Yeah, no, we do it on shows. Just let's throw in some trap beats. Oh shit! Trap. I really like trap music, but I'm human garbage, so there is that. Don't take that to mean anything of special significance. That seems loud. Let's pull it down to like. That's probably a pretty good
bring a little
balance.
freestyle. Gonna bring a little freestyle, Jimmy.
Kevin the Unfollower. No, I'm not going to. Here we go. You thought I was about to though. That's
I
all.
thought you were going in, man.
You're like, this is about to go hard, and then it would have been awful.
Yeah.
I've only ever beaten Drake. I'm not that good. That's only funny to me, I guess. I don't know. Where did we leave off? Okay, it was an I Got Cookies one. For some reason, it erased where we were. Okay, here we are.
$5 from Spaceman Spiff. I think Mike, him, was trying to reference Sam Harris. He mentioned the moral landscape. Thoughts on that? I'm not really familiar with what Sam Harris says about the moral landscape.
Well, the moral landscape is a book by Sam Harris where he basically tries to reorient the discussion on morality to have an objective viewpoint on it. Like you can have objective morality, and it's just in the context of this landscape that has peaks and valleys and all this other stuff. And so, I mean, that was one of the first things that I read, like as an atheist trying to figure out what I believed. And I mean, I perfectly understood it, and I think that there is like a moral landscape, but I think that it's a much different thing to say that you can be objective about morality, because that's basically what the moral landscape says, as far as I can remember. It's been a while since I read it, but you can be objective about morality, and you can have these different ways to measure like whether or not something's moral or immoral, but it's still inherently subjective, because you're still subjectively applying this thing, and
right.
But that's totally different from what Christians and religious people say, because they're like, oh, this is absolute, which it's not even absolute in their own religion.
I would say that added to my reasons that I thought he was one of them deconstructing new libertarians.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay, tight. I thought Kevin was about to say something.
I keep you guessing.
$5 from Too Young to Feel This Old. Fine then, Jimmy. I think I remember you saying that you hate cedar, right? Use cedar then, but use some good wood for that coffee table. Don't use the ass wood.
I don't hate cedar. I just regret making something that. So cedar has its like places in, like, I'm about to probably build a bench, a different bench than the bench I just built out of some heftier cedar, some bigger pieces of cedar. And that's nice, because if you're going to put it outside, you don't really have to finish cedar. Cedar just turns gray. It's what most fences are made out of. And upkeep is minimal. I made...
What is this?
This other bench. That's Purple Heart.
Oh, that's a type of wood, Purple Heart?
It's a wood called Purple Heart, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, which was the funniest thing.
Was Jimmy made this. But...
It's a penis wand, if that's not clear.
I thought Jimmy was just like good at identifying woods and was just like, that's what that is. I didn't know he actually made that.
No, yeah.
He loves looking at wood, that's for sure.
A couple years now. I've wanted to be in woodworking my entire adult life, but a couple years ago I was like, I'm going to start taking this money Adam and Eve gives me for sponsorships and turning that into a backup job. And so I made myself a little wood shop that if ever YouTube becomes just ridiculous, just leave. Just go and do wood shit.
Do you have a store yet?
I have started selling pieces, but so far I have not yet gotten to the point that I'm making more pieces than I have individuals in my life who want to purchase them. So it is not a publicly available thing yet.
Well, you know, Jimmy, if I ever need some good wood, I know I'm going to call you.
Hell yeah. I'll tell you all about which woods to use. Yeah. I got some wood. I got some wood recommendations. But you're quite correct. You would not want to make a coffee table out of cedar. You'd probably want to make it. Current styles are mostly going to be if you kind of want to go the range of like higher end furniture, but still consumer accessible, somewhat expensive. Usually it's going to be made out of walnut. If you want something that's a little bit cheaper, but still a really good hardwood, it's going to probably be like white oak. But walnut and maple, the way they accent each other, that's probably the best shit people are making coffee tables out of right now.
So $9.99 from Dom-O. Coffee table debates.
I think this could be a fucking amazing idea. I just have to ask Shannon and Paul if they do it.
So $5 from Kathleen Moncrief. Birdhouses have holes and poles for many purposes. It feels weirdly sexual there.
I'm not making that kind of birdhouse.
All right. $10 from I Killed Earl. Damn it, Jimmy. Sending a super chat so I'm not bored on Friday. Does this one count as 2?
Well, we already passed the threshold, so it doesn't matter either way. Ironically, had I not put the challenge out there, I Killed Earl is my friend. If I wasn't doing Cause I Wanna, I would have hung out. I'd have been fine hanging out with I Killed Earl instead. So sort of funny. Sort of an ironic thing that happened.
Stick a quarter in your ass because you played yourself.
That's right.
One of those type situations.
That's right. You could have had the one-on-one show. Other people can buy that at my OnlyFans. I don't have OnlyFans. I wish I could make money on OnlyFans, but it wouldn't be very much money.
$5 from Kathleen Moncrief again. I need a show, so I'll clean my house while I watch.
Hell yeah.
It's good use of time and the show.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Jimmy, you should start an
Only
Wood.
Only Wood?
Only Wood.
Fuck yeah.
Wood account.
Have you ever seen the Christmas trees that I make?
No.
I think these are going to be available for. Hang on, I'll show you. I'll have to come to this thing. I'm not going to let people see too much of me, but if you want one of these this Christmas for just to go in the background, you just let me know if you want one of these Christmas trees that I carve out on the lathe. Yeah, if you'd like that as a background piece or something, you just let me know.
Is that cedar?
I think this is white oak. It might be maple, but I'm almost positive it's white oak.
So it's really hard?
It's a very hard, dense wood, yeah. You can seal it and make it stand up to a lot. This one's actually been through the ringer. It's got a lot of chips on it. But it's also the perfect size to hold up a roll of paper towels. Like it goes in pretty, the roll holds it pretty tightly. It doesn't wiggle around on it. It's a very tight fit. Yeah, it's a very tight fit. So yeah, this Christmas, I'm going to try and make sure that I get a lot of these Christmas trees sent to my friends. Did we do this one?
$5 from Jeff G. Great show, GE and Jesus Unfollower. Jimmy goes scuba dive into a volcano.
That's specific.
You can't scuba dive in a volcano. The lava is extremely dense. It's liquid rock. If somehow you didn't burn up, you wouldn't sink in lava. Not quickly. Maybe if you were super heavy and more dense, but you'd really just be on top of the lava.
Did you ever watch Return of the King? When
yes,
Gollum
that is
fell
absurd.
In?
Yes, that's obviously some special elven lava that isn't actual lava. It's some sort of magic
Mount Doom,
Mordorian water lava. Nerd. Sorry.
All right, we've got $5.50 from Majestic P. Beck that says, "Here is one more. Jimmy, go fuck yourself." Awesome.
What did I ever do to you guys?
A lot of fans, a lot of big Jimmy fans.
So, yeah. No, okay. Never mind. I was going to explain, but now I'm not going to.
I think that's £5. Is that right? From Mars.
Yes.
Your show has helped me completely deconstruct, and now it's helping my boyfriend too. Just want to thank y'all for what you do. That is awesome.
Yeah, that's like the shit. That's why we do it. Hell yeah.
That's why we do it.
No shit. So yeah, that's pounds. I always get excited when people pay in shekels because shekels looks like a little black hole. It looks like the symbol for shekels is awesome.
I've never seen a shekel symbol.
Somebody pay us in shekels. Let's show them. Show us. And there's probably only one of you in the audience, but could we have a few shekels?
Please give us a shekel, sir.
I love the symbol for shekels. It's added to the list of, I know this is like a weird thing to say, and some people probably think it's problematic, but all my life I have had Jew envy. I've wanted to be Jewish my entire life. I admire their family dynamics, not like the Orthodox, but there's so much. I would have way rather been raised as a Jew than a Mormon. I was raised around Jews. The unofficial family in my life are Jews, like all those people you call aunt and uncle that aren't really your aunt and uncle. And I've just always wanted to be, I have such Jew envy, and add that to the list. Shekels is an awesome, because that's shekels is Israeli, right? Is that what they use in Israel? I assume. I don't fucking know.
Sounds
Where do
right.
they use shekels? It's in the Bible. Where do they use shekels? Anyway, I'll probably get canceled tomorrow for saying that I like Jews so much I wish I was one. Yeah, Israel and Palestine. Stacy's mom. Do you all know Apostasy? She's coming on the show in a couple weeks. Her mom's in the chat, and she said, Jimmy, this is Stacy's mom. Tell me how to give you money. Slip it in my G-string, baby. D and I, we have a bit of a love affair. Anyway, did we read this one? Because that name is ridiculous. How do you pronounce that?
Not yet.
No, I believe it's your turn, John.
Yeah, 550 from Kunt Qureshi. Jimmy, just for the because I wanna, and also Jimmy, I'd say go fuck yourself, but you'd like that, so I curse you to be a fluffer for Kinham and Kenthoven.
I'll fluff the sheep on their ark or some shit like that. They might need some fluffing. Here, I can show you the symbol because one of our mods Sue put it in the chat and actually even super chatted it, but that's what it looks like.
Oh,
yeah, that's a shekel.
Weird for shekel.
I've never seen that. I don't think
it's like a little vortex. You know what's funny is I actually think it looks better where the dollar sign is. Maybe it's because it's bigger. This is clearly smaller than the currency on like here. But yeah, it looks like a little vortex, and I just like it.
That's cool.
Yeah. I'm not kidding. I'm 0.1% Ashkenazi Jewish. That's what my DNA says. I'm 0.1% Ashkenazi, and then the other 99.9%, I'm not kidding, it says Western European. And then when you go see the breakdown, it's all England or Ireland. Aryans wish they had my DNA results. Those fucking Nazis, I love when they get their DNA results. They're like, what? 8% African? Well, this ain't true. They wish they had my inability to go out in the sun without copious amounts of sunscreen. They wish. Anyway, I think this is going to be the last one.
$5 from I Killed Earl. Damn it, Jimmy. Just my luck. Go lick a chainsaw. Smooches.
I actually don't own a chainsaw. I have no reason for a chainsaw. I don't know what I would use one for.
I guess you got to lick somebody else's then.
That's right. Who wants to volunteer their chainsaw?
Gotta go rent one.
And you haven't specified that the chainsaw must be running, by the way.
Yeah.
Like a chainsaw that's turned off. Fine. That's not scary. Well, do we close up the show, or do you all want to keep talking about woodworking? Because I'll do it all fucking night.
Yeah, I need to eat, so.
You have your other wand there? Didn't I send you two?
Huh?
Did I send you only one wand? I thought I sent you more than one.
Oh yeah, you sent me more than one. The other ones are in different bags and shit. This is just the one that I keep on my desk.
I think I also sent you one made of. Was there one that's sort of not a dark brown, but not? It's like a brown with a little dark brown. Yeah. I think that one's pecan, and then one that's probably a very light color, right? Like a light yellow, white
Yeah.
color. That one will be maple. So those are the 3 I sent you.
Okay.
Okay, wait. We've got one more super chat. This is from Apostasy's mom, D. Too kind, but we don't do this on this channel. People tell me to go fuck myself instead of loving me. But D says, "Love you too, Jimmy," and I love D. But that is the tradition here. Is if you want to compliment me, don't just tell me to go fuck myself. That's the actual tradition. And now I'm impervious because I assume every insult is a compliment. Here's actually another one. Y'all can read this one.
$4.99 from the Raven. 200 says my niece turned 10 recently. It only feels like it was a week ago. I was holding her as a newborn. Time flies. It definitely does. I miss my son when he was that young, which I need to call him. I'm supposed to call him every night.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, we'll get you off.
No,
Phrasing.
Yeah, my nephew turns 8 later this month, so I'm in the same boat. It just feels like he was just born yesterday.
Yeah,
freaking crazy.
Yeah, my son's 13. He's getting to that age where he's got an attitude. But in any case, so yeah, I guess that'll be it for all the super chat. I think we're all caught up on super chats and everything like that.
Yep.
So I guess we could just close the show out. I really want to thank the mods tonight in the chat for keeping everybody in line there. I would also like to thank the screener, which I may butcher this, Amargan.
Yeah,
is that right?
That's right.
All right, awesome. Did not butcher it. Thank you so much there to the call screener. Also, I want to thank Kevin, the Jesus Unfollower. Thank you so much for kind of being able to come on tonight. If you want to, go ahead, plug your stuff. Tell people where they can find you and everything like that.
Sure. You can find all my links at jesusunfollower.com. My YouTube channel is called Jesus Unfollower. And I have a podcast called What the Heaven Did I Just Watch, where I'm reviewing Christian movies. So you can check that out too.
Yeah, I listened to the last episode that you have up there, which was Jesus Camp, and I thought it was pretty good.
Jesus Camp.
So it's a mind fuck. Just want to let everybody know that we have a Patreon here on the line. It's patreon.com/call the line. So if you want to go there and support, the show ends now with the scrolling names of the top tier patrons, the Patreon credit or the patron credit producers. So, if you want a chance at having your name scroll across the screen at the end, definitely become a Patreon today. And I just want to say, hope y'all have a nice night. Don't forget to stand up, use your voice, and all that kind of good shit.
All right, now you have to pretend to keep talking, but don't actually make a sound as the thing plays over you, like it's a news show as it's ending. Watch, you'll get it. Like you're like wrapping up, you're putting your papers away. These guys are pros.